It's finally Friday. It's Friday, Friday.
Thank God it's
Welcome back to the Friday Show, presented by DRF Bets. I'm Scott Jagow, along with Ray Paulick. Ray, we thought we might have another Triple Crown winner. That's not going to happen. We thought we might have a rematch between the Derby winner and the Preakness winner, and now that's not going to happen. We'll talk about that in a minute. But what happened on Preakness Day was somewhat, at least in the national media, overshadowed by the deaths of two horses.
It's been a brutal day at the racetrack ahead of the Preakness Stakes. Two horses died in the early races at Pimlico.
There was a lot of national coverage of these two deaths at Pimlico. Ray, were you surprised at how much coverage there was?
I guess in hindsight, I shouldn't have been surprised, but I really was at the time. The Drudge Report, a big national conservative news site, had it as their top story all day, that Preakness Shock, two horses died. It got picked up in a lot of outlets. Those of us in racing, I don't want to say we're used to it, but we understand that it happens. We never like it when it happens. Frankly, it makes you sick when it happens. But we also know that in the vast majority of cases, these horses are well cared for, and sometimes injuries are not preventable.
But at the same time, we know that the industry can do a better job of reducing the chance of this occurring. And there are lots of ways that happens. But, it's still, it's stomach churning to watch. I mean, I was watching the second situation there. They were trying to get the screen out. They were a little slow about it, so a lot was revealed. But I was thinking about that screen and how it might be an analogy to, some things in the industry where we turn a blind eye and maybe a little bit of denial, when several horses in the same well-known trainer's barn die in a short period of time mysteriously, and then nothing comes of that. That makes me think that maybe we aren't doing all we can.
Well, there's been a lot of progress since Barbro's accident 10 years ago. They formed the Welfare and Safety of the Racehorse Summit. A lot of good work is being done there, including an equine injury database. Injuries and fatalities now being reported. Scientists are looking at the data and coming up with very realistic ways to reduce the injuries. And if racing commissions would listen to them, and if horsemen wouldn't resent change, I think that we can even see more improvements. There's been a reduction in the number of fatalities per 1,000 starts, and I think if we follow these recommendations, it's going to be reduced further. But you can never eliminate every death.
Yeah, and I think the one other area that still needs some work, and there is progress with the RMTC and what they're doing, but medication and drugs. I mean, you've got to somehow ferret out the bad apples and enforce the rules you have in place. And I mean, lay down the law and get rid of these people that are cheating. And then the ones that are kind of violating the rules, you still have to give them more than a slap on the hand, because there are good people in the business who get caught overusing medication, or so I think that is one area where there's still some work to be done.
The public has changed. We're using animals for entertainment here, and all you have to do is look at the circus, where they've eliminated elephants from the show at the biggest circus in the country. Look at SeaWorld, where they've stopped a captive breeding program, and they're getting rid of whales in the show. We have to do everything possible for the safety and health of these horses, because we are using them for entertainment. That's the bottom line.
Well said. All right, let's move along and talk about Exaggerator.
Exaggerator has turned the tables. He has won the Preakness Stakes.
So in his fifth try, Exaggerator finally defeated Nyquist. We're not going to get a rematch just yet, but Ray, at this point, who do you think is the better horse?
Well, I've been watching a lot of politics lately, the debates and all this stuff. So let me just say this about that. They are both very, very good horses.
That's a cop-out. What do you really think?
Well, 4-1 is pretty strong advantage, but the tide may be turning in Exaggerator's favor.
Yeah, as the races have gotten longer, he seems to be maturing as a 3-year-old the way his sire did a little bit later. I mean, Nyquist, how can you top 8 for 8 to start your career? There's really nowhere to go but down. He can still develop, of course, and I think he will, and we're going to have a great rivalry here. But Nyquist, he ran a heck of a race in the Preakness, considering that Mario Gutierrez took him out too fast. He got caught up in in a torrid pace. And then Exaggerator, Kent DeSormo, got him to the rail and saved ground all the way around.
Yeah, it was a brilliant ride by Kent. He knows that track. That's where he, was as a Eclipse Award-winning apprentice. I think it was his home track when he set the all-time record for wins in a single year. He claimed that he knows every grain of sand on the race course. Now that is saying something.
Yeah, he said during his press conference, he said, "Welcome to my house," which I thought was great. That was a really funny moment. Well, maybe we'll see them in the Breeders' Cup Classic later on. We still got some 3-year-old races coming up, and then there's the Pegasus. There's the $12 million race next January. I mean, there's just a lot to look forward to, right?
There really is, and let's hope that the health setback to Nyquist ends quickly. He can get back into training. We've got the Traverse. There's some races out in California that could be of interest. The Pacific Classic could be a huge race if these 3-year-olds go in it. Beholder, I think, is pointing for that race. Maybe California Chrome. This could be a fun year.
Yeah, plus Songbird. I mean, summer is almost here, believe it or not. It's just sneaking up on us, but it should be a great summer of racing. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Friday Show, presented by DRF Bets. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.